Hello everyone and welcome back to another Cheeky Beaks video. In today's video we are going to be making chop. It is time for my monthly little chop making day. So I thought I would film my process and also just discuss some things, because obviously the topic of diet conversion is something that comes up a lot and we just cannot emphasize enough how important a healthy diet is. I'm also going to be just mentioning the prices of some things, just so that you can get an idea of how much feeding a healthy diet can cost. And spoiler alert, it's really not that much. So yes, I've got a lot to do today. There are 3 components to my chop. It's got a grains section, a baked mash veggie section, and the chop up section. So yes, a lot to do, and I'll explain as I go. I've got the grains portion, so this is bay leaves just because it's safe and I can add it in there. A little bit of pasta, and then we've got the cook mix. There are a lot of cook mixes made for birds that are really great. However, a cheap alternative is just soup mix. The one that's got barley, green split peas or yellow split peas, and brown and red lentils. All safe for birds. Pop it in there, cook it, and yeah, just adds a component to the chop that I know the birds really like. Then I'm going to make the mash part of the chop. Not a lot of people do this, I think, but I do it because it helps all the ingredients stick together, and that's really helpful when I'm doing diet conversion with pastas. That was sweet potato that I just put in. Yeah, it really helps everything stick together. I do this every time I make chop. It's got a mash base. You can't do this with every bird. Like, there's some birds that are extremely hormonal, and feeding them mashy, warm foods can sometimes heighten the hormones, so take note of that. Frozen foods are fine. Some people believe you can't use frozen vegetables. You can. There is nothing wrong with frozen vegetables. You eat frozen vegetables, the birds can eat them too. So here, 40 Rand, it was cut up pumpkin pieces. So I got 2 of these packs for 40 Rand. Pumpkin is so difficult to cut up, so that is something I do pay for to buy the cut up one, because it is so much of a mission to cut up myself. So yes, that was 40 Rand each. Generally I have ingredients that are left over, so they remain frozen until the next month when I need them. And yeah, so that is now pumpkin. I have butternut that I need to cut up to put into this pot as well. Okay, now let's tackle this. So I've got my big bowl here that I put the chop in. I like to buy rosemary, pluck the leaves out, put it in. Got chilies, got broccoli, cauliflower. This is a really nice thing to add as like not a base, but I don't know, it's just always really good to add broccoli and cauliflower. My birds love peppers, I always add peppers. Got spinach this time, some baby spinach. Don't often give them spinach. I always buy a bag of corn to put in. Then recently, I've been doing this, the Asian stir fry mix. Just because the stuff is already chopped up, and I don't know, it's got the cabbage, the purple cabbage. It's got beans, which, to be fair, my birds actually never like beans, but they always get beans anyway. Red peppers, like I say, they always like peppers, and it's got the little tiny corn, cut baby corn. I don't know, I just really like to add this. So I bought 2 packets of that. Got a pack of peas. Got some baby marrow or zucchini. So yeah, and there's obviously carrots. Birds love carrots, we've got to do that as well. I need to sort through here so I can make space for what I need to do, because I first need to do the butternut, cut up the butternut so that can go in the pot, because obviously that's going to take a while. So, for example, those McCain Asian thingy, much. The peas are 50 Rand, which I do think is expensive. But anyway, the corn, 50 Rand. That was on special. Let's see. This, 30 Rand. The chilies was also expensive, to be honest. Well, it was 13 Rand. But they had a bigger bag, like a lot bigger bag for 30 Rand. Like more than double this for 30 Rand, but all the packets were moldy. So obviously I didn't get that. The Asian thingies that I just put in here was 42 Rand 99. I believe so. I bought these at Checkers. So for this broccoli cauliflower, you just put it straight into the food processor. The food processor is like the best thing ever for making chop. I can just break these apart just so that it's easier to get in. Okay. Stuff it all in. I do tend to go pretty fine. That's just the way I choose to make and feed chop. Have it all gooey, have it all fine, everything sticks together, and that's what works for me. So they have added the peas and the Asian mix. The corn I just put in the fridge, I'll get it later. That's how we do that. Probably not as fine generally, but look at this. That I'll just cut up now, put it aside and I'll cut it up. You just take a tea bag and you just rip it open and you throw it over. More variety, you know. The more ingredients, the better. So, on that note, you know, some people don't like the idea of a frozen monthly chop that you then defrost. Which, fair enough, you know, like I said earlier, you can use frozen vegetables. There is nothing wrong with frozen vegetables. If you want to make a daily chop every morning, that is up to you. I personally don't recommend that because the way I'm doing it now is the way that gets the most variety into the mix. Like, how could you make something in one morning that has got this many, like this much in terms of variety without making a whole batch? If that makes sense. You would otherwise have to like take one little spinach leaf, one carrot, you just cut like a tiny portion of a carrot, and I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me personally. I prefer making a big batch and then warming it up in the morning for my birds. I just scoop out a little as much as I need for the birds that are with me, warm it up in the microwave for a minute, and there you go. And it works for all the birds and all the fosters. So this is just some spinach that I washed and I'm now cutting up. Wash your vegetables before you put them in. But yes, that's what I'm saying. It makes sense to do it this way. Some people say their birds don't like the soggy food. Perhaps. If your bird is that way, then they are that way. Yeah, I guess just do what you need to do. You don't have to make chop the way I make it. I'm just saying this is one way to do it, and this is how it works for me when I do diet conversion with my fosters and how I feed my birds. We do it like this every month. And yeah, I generally cut it up pretty fine because I'm generally fostering tiny birds like cockatiels and budgies and the occasional ringneck or Senegal or something. I have cockatiels and ringneck and a Senegal of my own. So that's, yeah, I do the smaller birds. For the price of all the vegetables, it was 347 Rand for a lot of the stuff here. Oh, I bought almost everything except one bag of the peppers, although I'm probably not going to use them. I just found the one in the fridge now. The carrots I didn't buy, the butternuts I didn't buy. These were just things at home, so you could say they're like carryover costs from the previous month. And generally I actually don't spend so much on the bird food. I budget for like 400 Rand, but it generally doesn't get to 400 Rand ever really. 350 is sort of the upper limit of what I spend monthly for the birds in terms of vegetables. And then yeah, like I said, it generally is stuff from the previous month. Like these butternuts, it's actually from, not all the way from last month, but from a little while ago. So they're all good, I must just cut them up. And that's 350 Rand. We'll feed all the birds for a month. So there's 4 of my own, and then I've got at the moment 2 budgie fosters, and I've got an Indian ringneck foster. So I generally have kind of like 2 or 3 foster birds. So that plus my own 4, that is how much it feeds. And the 350 divided by like 6 or 7 is really not much at all. If you have a bigger bird, even so, it's still not going to be that expensive. Back to this now. I've got the stuff that's on the pot that needs to be cooking. The grains are done. So now I've just got to do, this just needs to go in the food processor. I've got the carrots, the peppers, and the zucchini. Oh, and the chilies and the rosemary. We do the chilies. So this is now the like tedious hand chopping that needs to be done, and it's nice if you've got someone to help you. Actually, I need to wash these. And my carrots. Yeah. So this is the grains. So here's the grain portion of it. So then that also can just get thrown in here. All the vegetables have been washed. Then we'll take this for example and just cut it up however you want to cut it up. It's just for the bird food. So these seeds are all safe. So I just go like this and I brush them all in and slice this all up. So when making chop, try to include vegetables that are all different colors. Like you go with the orange carrots, we got the peppers, the pumpkin, and the sweet potatoes orange. There is purple cabbage in that Asian mix, and you get like the yellow corn. So just the more color the better. It just adds to the whole thing of the more variety the better. So if you are struggling to get your parrots to eat healthy food, I think making a big batch like this is also helpful, because yes, like you can do the thing of trying different foods all the time, seeing what they do and don't like, but kind of simultaneously you also need to just feed them the exact same thing the whole time and be consistent. So for example, with this batch of chop now, people might say like, oh no, your bird's going to eat the exact same thing every single day for the whole month. Yes, to a degree, but then what you would do is when you go to give them this, because you see this is all just vegetables, I don't put fruit in it, so then on every morning you can go and you can just add to it. So maybe one day you want to add some apple to it, maybe you want to add a peach or something. It's not like this is it, you can still add on top of it, every day. So you can do it like that. But you've got to feed them the same thing, and sometimes it helps, or sometimes it like almost always will definitely help if you just don't really give them a choice. This is the food you're gonna eat, and you're gonna eat it, is what we say to them. And when it comes to the rosemary, just pick the leaves off. The carrots, I will just peel. And then I can put that in the food processor. So there's our pumpkin and butternut and sweet potato. That's all super soft. Now I must just drain the water so that I can mash it in here and mix it up. So here's what my cooked food looks like. Just gotta take and just gotta mash it up. Yeah, that needs to be mashed. We really need a bigger bowl. I haven't even added the corn yet. The corn, I guess I'll put in the pot and mix it in there. There's the tea. Spinach coming out now. I might decide to add more tea actually, because it kind of gets lost in the end result sometimes, so I might do that. I would have liked a bit more red in here. That's why I like adding red peppers. So there was red peppers in the Asian mix. But otherwise the red peppers, if you're buying red and yellow peppers whole, they're a lot more expensive than just green peppers. And they're the same thing, just at a different stage. We would dish up. I've got a pot at the back here. Put a scoop of mash in. And then we scoop from here. And sort of mix as I go. Okay. And we close it, and it goes in the freezer. And that is it. And then when you add in your pellets and a sprinkle of seeds in the bowl, everything sticks together and it just makes dye conversion super easy. Well, as easy as it can get. Some birds can still be tricky, but consistency. I put the last little bit together in here just so that it's easier to mix. So that is how to make chop once a month, every single month. It is a process, it can take a little while, makes a lot of dishes, but at least once a month. If you do it this way and you know your birds are getting very good variety, yeah, I put these ice cream containers in the freezer until I need one, then I keep it in the fridge and then it's a couple days worth of food. And yeah, I've got happy birdies and very healthy birds. So yeah, we have a diet playlist on our YouTube channel. You can go have a look there. There's lots of different videos on the topic of diet for parrots. And there's a previous chop making video that we've made as well. So thank you so much for watching and please subscribe. You can check our description box for more links and other information.